So the question says evaluate, and we're going to have to learn about cube roots. So you need to memorize some of these. The cube root is 64. Well, if anything, you're going to ask yourself what number times itself 3 times equals 64. And of course the answer is 4, so therefore the cube root of 64 is 4. To the power 1/3 means the cubed roots. What's the cube root of 27? Again, what number times itself equals 3 times equals 27? It's 3. As there's a negative there, the cube root of negative 27 is negative 3. So whenever you see the 1/3, that means the cubed root. So basically the cubed root of 27 is the same as 27 to the power 1/3. Those two are synonymous statements. So part A here does the cubed root, and part B does the power 1/3. They are the same. So here the cube root of 1 over 125, well the cube root of 1 is 1, because 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And the cube root of 125, or what number times itself 3 times equals 125, of course it's 5. So this is 10,000. The fourth root of 10,000, again, what number times itself 4 times equals 10,000. And usually the numbers are quite nice, and of course this is quite nice too. The answer is 10. So question 2 says evaluate each root. And again, each question does not match up with the book question, but they're similar. So question A says 64 to the 1/3. So what's the cubed root of 64? Well, we know the answer is 4, because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. The fourth root of 81 over 16, well, we can do it by bits. So what's the fourth root of 81? So what number times itself 4 times equals 81? And the answer is a small number, so it's 3. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. So the fourth root of 81 is 3. And what's the fourth root of 16? Well, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16, so therefore the fourth root of 16 is 2. Fairly straightforward. 32 to the 1/5, it's saying what's the fifth root of 32? So what number times itself 5 times equals 32? Well, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 32. So the fifth root of 32 is 2. And the bottom one, the cubed root of negative 1,000, well, it's going to be negative, and the cubed root of 1,000 is 10, because 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. 32. Okay, question 3a, and I've done it big just to sort of highlight what's going on here. It says evaluate, and we've got 8 to the 2/3. Now, generally, the 2 and the 3 have different meanings. So the 2 is the power. So the top number of the fraction is the power, and the bottom number is the root. What we try and do is the root first of all. So we're going to find out what the third root of 8 is. That means what's the cubed root of 8? The third root of 8 means the cubed root of 8. And we know that the answer is 2. So the 3 is taken care of, and we've still got to now do the 2. So let's recap. So the cubed root of 8 is 2, and now we've got to do the 2 squared afterwards. 2 squared is obviously 4. 32 to the 4/5, we want to do the 5 first of all. What does the 5 mean? It's the fifth root of 32. Well, what number times itself 5 times equals 32? Well, we might have done this before. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 32. Therefore, the fifth root of 32 is 2. The 4 is still there, and 2 to the 4th is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. Next question, negative 27. It's not the same as one in the book, but it's similar. Take care of the cubed first. What's the cubed root of 27? We know that's 3. Now take the negative with it. What's the cube root of negative 27? Well, it's negative 3. Put the bracket around the negative 3, and we've still got the 4 to do. Now what's negative 3 to the 4th? Well, a negative sign to the 4th power is positive. 3 to the power 4, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81. So the final answer is 81. Okay, here we introduce the negative sign on question 4, and again the questions are similar but not the same. So we're going to start with the 5 as usual. The 5th root of 32 we know is 2. Now what's left in the question is this negative sign and the 1. So we put that in, negative 1. Now what's 2 to the negative 1? Well, it's going to be 1 over 2 to the 1, which is 1 over 2. Question B, again similar but not the same. Let's do the 2 first. The 2 means the square root. What's the square root of 36? Well, we know it's 6, and we've still got the negative 3 to go. What does the negative sign mean? The negative sign means it comes downstairs and the power changes positive. What's 6 cubed? Well, 6 times 6 times 6 is 216, so the final answer is 1 over 216. And the last question, I've skipped a few here, but this is similar. Take care of the 3 first. The 3 means the cubed root. So we can do it bit by bit. What's the cubed root of 27? Well, we know that is 3. What's the cubed root of 8? And we know that is 2. Go back to the question. What have we got left that we haven't taken care of? We've got the negative 2. We then know the negative sign flips the whole fraction upside down and makes it a positive power. It's supposed to be an arrow. Close. So if you flip 3 over 2, you get 2 over 3. And now the power goes positive. We get squared. 2 over 3 squared. Well, 2 squared on top is 4, and 3 squared on the bottom is 9. Okay, some questions here. You've got to work these things out, and it's for the fraction, not for the fraction fearful. So m to the 1/3 times m to the 1/3. We add the powers. Remember the law of exponents that says a to the m times a to the n equals a to the m plus n. Not to forget that one. That's a very important one there. So here in the same situation, we've got m to the 1/3 times m to the 1/3. We add them together, and we get m to the 2/3. Same situation here. We get p to the 1/2 plus 1/3. And of course, now the problem is we've got to add fractions. Common denominator is 6, and 1/2 is 3 over 6. 1/3 is 2 over 6. So it's p to the 5 over 6. Not for the faint-hearted. Here, same situation. We don't add the powers here, we subtract. So we get 1/3 minus 1/2. I've gone for the same denominator, 6 here again. 1/3 is 2 over 6, and 1/2 is 3 over 6, so it's 2 minus 3, which is negative 1/6. So it's x to the negative 1/6, and if you wanted to put it into, there's a 6 there somewhere. If I get to close the loop, I can. If you want to put it into positive powers, we get 1 over x to the 1/6. I'm not very good at drawing numbers that small. There you go. Here's even worse, because we've got to, for the a's, we're going to subtract the powers. So 2 minus 1/2. If I do this quickly, probably upset everybody. Well, 2 minus 1/2 is 3 over 2. Because I'm good at fractions, therefore you should be good at fractions. Let's just recover that. 2 minus 1/2. 2 is 4 over 2. Common denominator minus 1 over 2 is indeed 3 over 2. So therefore that number is the same as the one that goes there. Do the b's now. Let's put it into blue. This is b to the power 1, the invisible 1. Subtract the powers. 1 minus 1/3 is 2/3. So it's b to the 2/3. And being comfortable with fractions helps a lot. I'm going to do this last question. It is actually question 6e in the book, so I want to just review this because the book doesn't do enough questions like this, but we'll look at it anyway. What we've got is 8x in the brackets, and each of those is to the power 1. 8 to the 1 times x to the 1. And the same with the 27x. 27 to the 1, x to the 1. The ones are invisible. We don't write them, but it's there. And of course, what we're going to do now, We're going to follow the law of exponents that says a to the m to the n equals a to the mn, where we multiply the powers. So this is what we're going to use right here in this situation. So we get the 1 that's by the 8 multiplies by the 2/3. That gives me 8 to the 2/3. We'll do that in a minute. Then we do the x. The 1 by the x times the 2/3 gives me x to the 2/3 times, over here, 27 now. We've got the 1 that's on top times the negative 1/3 gives me 27 to the negative 1/3, and we'll do that in a minute. And then the x, the same thing, becomes x to the negative 1/3, and we'll do that. So what we've got two things here. We can work out this, and we can work out that. 8 to the 2/3, we take care of the 3 first of all. The cube root of 8 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. Let's recap that once again. Let's get a different color in here so we can see what's going on. So first of all, we did the 3. That means the cubed root of 8. And the cube root of 8 is 2, and 2 squared equals this number here, 4. Okay, that's that recapped. Let's go back to the blue, or the red. X to the 2/3 can stay as it is for now because we don't want to complicate two things. We're going to do 27 to the negative 1/3. And again, we take care of the 3 first of all. So we know that the cubed root of 27 is 3, and that leaves me negative 1 left, and we can do that, take care of that in a minute. And of course, after this, we've got x to the negative 1/3. Well, we know that 4 stays the same. This thing here, the 3 to the negative 1, is going to be 1 over 3 to the 1, which is 1/3. X to the 2/3 times x to the negative 1/3. Well, that looks like we're going to use the law of exponents where we add the powers. 4 times 1/3 is 4/3. X to the 2/3 times x to the negative 1/3. We add the powers. 2/3 plus negative 1/3 is going to be x to the 1/3. And there's your final answer. We could rewrite it 4x to the 1/3 all over 3. That would be fine too.